The night sky over the North Atlantic was black and restless. Clouds rolled like giant shadows, flashing with pale lightning that lit the sea for seconds at a time. The research ship Aurora fought against the wild waves, climbing one hill of water only to crash into another. Every sound was swallowed by the storm. The wind howled, the thunder roared, and the ship's metal creaked as if it might break in two. Inside the control room, Dr. Lena Hayes held onto a railing with one hand and stared at the glowing screens in front of her. She was in her late 30s, calm and sharp-minded even when everything around her seemed to fall apart. For weeks, she and her small crew had been tracking strange energy signals from deep beneath the ocean floor. Tonight, those signals had suddenly grown stronger. "Captain," Lena shouted above the noise, "the readings are climbing again. It's coming from the trench, same coordinates." The ship's captain, a strong man named Marcel, turned the wheel and tried to steady the vessel. "Are you sure it's not lightning interference?" he yelled back. Lena shook her head. "No, it's different. The signal is steady, not random. Something's alive down there." Crew members rushed across the deck, securing cables and containers. The air smelled of salt and metal. Waves slammed into the side of the ship, sending water spraying over the windows. It was almost midnight and the storm was only growing worse. But Lena couldn't look away from the screen. The numbers were climbing fast, faster than any natural phenomenon she had ever seen. "Power surge in the sensors," someone shouted. "We're losing connection." Before Lena could respond, a deep vibration ran through the ship. It felt like the sea itself was rumbling. Every light on the control panel flickered. The sound wasn't thunder. It came from beneath them. Then the ocean began to glow. Outside, through the rain-streaked glass, the black water turned bright blue. It shimmered as if millions of lights were hidden below the surface. The glow spread in a perfect circle around the ship, wide and even, pulsing like the heartbeat of some sleeping giant. The crew fell silent, staring in disbelief. "What is that?" whispered one of the technicians. Lena stepped closer to the window. It's coming from the trench," she said quietly. "It's answering the signal." Suddenly the sea burst upward. A huge column of water shot into the air, spinning like a tornado. From within the spray, something massive rose, a dark shape that seemed to tear itself free from the ocean floor. The crew stumbled back as a shadow taller than a skyscraper broke through the waves. It wasn't a rock. It wasn't a shipwreck, it was a structure. A tomb. The black surface of the object glistened under the flashes of lightning. It was made of some kind of smooth metal, ancient yet untouched by time. Strange symbols were carved along its sides, glowing faintly with the same blue light that had filled the water. The structure was shaped like a pyramid, but its edges were sharp and perfect, too clean to be natural. Marcel muttered, That thing wasn't on any map." Lena felt her heart hammering in her chest. "It's not supposed to be there," she said. "No one has ever recorded anything like this." The tomb continued to rise until half of it stood above the water, towering over the ship like a mountain of steel. Waves crashed against its sides, but it didn't move. It was solid, ancient, and alive in a way that frightened everyone who saw it. One of the crewmen began to pray under his breath. Another grabbed a camera, trying to record the impossible sight. But every time the lightning flashed, the symbols on the tomb grew brighter, as if the light was feeding it. "Captain," a voice shouted from the radar station. "There's interference across all channels. We've lost satellite contact." Lena turned to Marcel. "We need to record everything before it fades. This could be the discovery of the century." Marcel nodded but looked uneasy. "Or the end of one," he said quietly. The ship rocked again, harder this time. A shockwave spread through the water, knocking over several crew members. The lights flickered once more, and for a moment everything went dark. Only the glow from the tomb remained, steady, cold, and otherworldly. Then a low, humming sound filled the air. It wasn't coming from the ship. It came from the tomb itself. The tone was deep enough to shake the bones. Every piece of metal on the Aurora vibrated in rhythm with the hum. Lena felt it in her chest like the sound was inside her heart. The storm didn't calm. The wind howled louder, the waves grew higher, but the tomb's hum drowned everything else. It felt like the ocean was bowing to something older and stronger than it. Lena whispered to herself, "It's not just rising, it's waking." The tomb suddenly released a flash of light so bright it turned the night into day. Everyone covered their eyes. The sound vanished. When they opened their eyes again, the sea had gone strangely quiet. The wind dropped. Even the thunder paused for a few seconds, as if the world itself was holding its breath. The tomb now stood silent and still above the water, glowing softly. The surface of the sea was flat again, calm in a way that made no sense after such chaos. Only the rain continued to fall. Lena stepped outside wearing her waterproof coat and stood at the edge of the deck. She looked up at the giant monument. From this close, she could see that the symbols on it were not random. They formed patterns, lines, and circles that almost looked mathematical. She turned on her recorder. Day 32, timestamp 0145. A large metallic structure has emerged from the North Atlantic Trench. Estimated height, nearly 300 meters. Composition unknown. It appears constructed. Her voice trembled, though she tried to sound calm. We are observing what might be a pre-human artifact, or something not of Earth at all. Suddenly, the blue glow on the tomb flickered, and one of the symbols began to change shape. It rearranged itself into something new, and for a moment it looked like a human eye staring back at her. Lena froze. The rain fell harder, but she didn't move. The eye-like symbol blinked once, then disappeared. The glow faded, leaving only darkness again. "Doctor," Marcel shouted from inside. "Get back in here. We're picking up something strange on the sonar." Lena hurried back into the control room. On the screen, a wave of energy spread out from the tomb, moving across the ocean floor in every direction. It wasn't random. It was a pulse, like a signal being sent to somewhere deep under the sea. "Where's it going?" she asked. "Everywhere," the technician replied. "It's bouncing off old communication cables, satellites, even our own systems. Whatever that thing is, it's sending a message." "To who?" Marcel asked. No one answered. Lena stared at the pulsing line on the screen. The signal moved with purpose. It wasn't just noise. It was a pattern, repeating, complex, intelligent. Then her headset crackled. For a moment she thought it was static, but then she heard a faint voice, deep and distant, almost like it came from under the ocean. It said just 3 words. "You are late." Everyone in the control room went silent. The only sound was the slow rhythmic beep of the signal still spreading across the radar. Lena's hand shook as she removed her headset. "That wasn't interference," she whispered. "It spoke," Marcel frowned. "Who spoke?" Lena looked toward the window. The tomb stood tall against the rain, unshaken by the sea. "Whatever built that thing," she said softly, "it's still down there." Far above, satellites orbiting Earth detected the same pulse. Around the world, control rooms and observatories began to flash red alarms. The signal was reaching every corner of the planet, even beyond. In one quiet observatory on the moon base horizon, a computer received the pulse, decoded it, and displayed one short message on its screen. "We wait for the call." And as lightning struck the ocean once more, the black tomb shimmered, almost as if it had heard the reply. 2 weeks had passed since the night the tomb rose from the Atlantic. The storm that had once raged around it was gone, but the world was now in a storm of questions. Satellite images of the black structure had spread across every country. Governments denied involvement. Scientists argued on live broadcasts, and social media burned with theories. Some said it was alien, others believed it was man-made, a lost weapon from ancient times. But no one had an answer. And in the middle of the Atlantic, a floating research platform named Haven Station now stood above the mysterious site. Dozens of ships surrounded it, military, scientific, and even press vessels that tried to catch glimpses from afar. The world wanted answers, but only a small group of people was allowed to go near the tomb. Inside the main research bay of Haven Station, Dr. Lena Hayes adjusted her dive suit and looked over a 3D hologram of the structure. She hadn't slept properly in days. The tomb had been silent since that stormy night, but the energy readings continued to flicker. Something deep inside it was still active. Commander Ray Holt, a tall man in his early 40s with a calm but firm voice, stepped beside her. He was in charge of keeping everyone safe. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" he asked, watching her prepare. "That thing nearly sank your ship last time." Lena smiled tiredly. "If we wait forever, we'll never learn anything. It's been quiet for days. We go in, we take a look, and we get out." Ray nodded slowly. He didn't like this mission, but he respected her determination. "Fine, but we do it my way. 1 hour inside, then back to the surface." "Understood?" Lena agreed. She was joined by Dr. Mira Voss, a language and history specialist from Germany, and two divers, Tom and Ilya, both experienced deep-sea explorers. Together, they were humanity's first team to enter the tomb that had slept under the ocean for thousands of years. The descent. The dive pod hummed as it lowered through the deep blue water. Sunlight faded above them until only the lights from their helmets remained. Around them, the sea grew darker and colder. Tiny glowing creatures drifted past like stars in an underwater night sky. "Approaching target," said Ilya through the comms. "Depth, 300 meters." The tomb came into view, an enormous pyramid of black metal, still half buried in the seabed. Its surface glowed faintly with blue veins that pulsed like slow heartbeats. "Looks asleep," Tom whispered. "No," said Lena softly. "It's waiting." They reached a large flat area near one side of the structure. There, a massive circular door was visible. It had the same glowing lines forming patterns that moved slightly, like liquid metal shifting under the surface. Mira floated closer. "These markings. They look like writing, but not any script I know." Lena scanned the surface with her wrist device. "It's made of a material I can't even identify. It's not metal, not stone, it's something in between." Ray's voice crackled over the radio from the surface. "Team 1, do you copy? Readings on our end are spiking. Be careful." Before Lena could reply, the lines on the door began to change. The patterns twisted and turned, forming new symbols. Then the circle in the center opened with a slow, deep sound like a massive sigh escaping after ages of silence. "Doors opening," Ilya shouted. "It's automatic." A faint stream of bubbles rose from the gap as a tunnel appeared inside. The path glowed with soft blue light leading into darkness. "Permission to enter?" Tom asked, voice trembling slightly. Ray's voice came back after a pause. "Permission granted. Stay alert." Inside the tomb, they swam slowly through the tunnel. The walls were smooth and curved, almost organic in design. Blue light lines ran along the surface, showing faint images, moving shapes that looked like people, ships, and stars. It was like swimming through a story carved in light. "Lena," Mira whispered, "look at this one." She pointed to a glowing mural that showed humans, or something very close, standing beside giant machines. They appeared to be placing objects into a capsule that looked almost exactly like the tomb. "They built this," Mira said softly. "Whoever they were, they made it, but when?" Tom asked. "Before history even started?" Lena couldn't answer. She felt a strange pull in her chest, as if the tomb itself was trying to speak to her. They continued deeper until they reached a wide chamber filled with massive figures. Each one was shaped like a human, wearing armor that shimmered like glass and silver. Dozens of them stood lined up in perfect rows, unmoving. "Statues?" Ilya asked. Lena swam closer, touching one of the figures gently. "No, these are machines. Look at the joints." They were built like soldiers. Mira floated near the front row. There, on a tall pillar, she found another glowing inscription. She activated her translator, and the words began to form slowly on her screen. She read them aloud. "Guardians of the Eternal Dawn. We wait for the call." Lena felt her heart race. The same words that appeared in the signal weeks ago. "This can't be coincidence," she said. "They sent the message. They're the ones who spoke." Suddenly, her wrist monitor beeped, a surge of energy behind them. The awakening chamber. The walls around the chamber began to hum. Blue light ran across every surface like fire spreading through veins. The armored figures started glowing from within. Faint at first, then brighter and brighter. "Power readings are climbing," Tom shouted. "We need to leave." But before they could move, one of the figures opened its eyes. Blue light poured from its visor. Then another one and another. In seconds, the entire row of metal soldiers came to life, standing tall and silent. Mira screamed softly through her mask. "They're moving!" The soldiers didn't attack. Instead, they turned toward the center of the chamber and knelt down as if waiting for orders. Then, in the center of the room, a sphere of light appeared. It rose slowly until it took shape, a glowing, half-transparent being made of silver light. Its form was human-like, but not completely. Its face was calm, and its eyes burned like tiny suns. Lena floated in awe. "It's alive." The being spoke, its voice deep and broken as if coming from far away. "Descendants? You came late. But you came. Everyone froze. It was the same voice Lena had heard in the headset that night on the ship. Lena slowly lowered her scanner. "Who are you?" she asked. The figure flickered. "I am the Warden. Keeper of the Dawn Vault. You are?" "The Children of Earth," Mira whispered. "It's speaking English." "Not exactly," Lena replied quietly. "It's translating for us." The Warden lifted one hand and the glowing soldiers behind it bowed their heads. "Long ago," the Warden said, "your kind walked the stars. You built worlds. You fought the Veil and lost. To protect what remained, you hid the seeds of your power beneath the sea. You forgot. But we waited." Lena's mind spun. "You mean humans were space travelers before history began?" "Yes, you were. Gods of your own making. But gods fall. We were left to guard what was left of your glory." Ray's voice crackled through the comm again. "Team 1, what's going on down there? Your heart rates are off the charts." Lena pressed the comm button. "Commander, you're going to want to see this." Before Ray could respond, the Warden turned its head upward, as if hearing something. The lights in the chamber flickered again. "Others are listening," it said. "Your awakening will not go unnoticed." The soldiers lifted their heads in unison. The ground beneath the team began to shake. "Time to go," Ray shouted through the comm. Lena nodded. "Let's move now." The team swam back toward the tunnel, but the walls of the tomb were changing. Panels shifted and closed, sealing parts of the path. The structure was alive, reorganizing itself. "Exits closing," Tom yelled. They pushed forward through the shrinking passage. Water currents slammed against them, dragging at their legs. Lena felt a rush of panic but kept swimming. Behind her, the glow from the Warden's chamber grew brighter, flooding the tunnel with light. "Faster," she shouted. They barely made it out as the last section of the tunnel sealed behind them. The team shot up toward the surface, their hearts pounding. When they finally broke through the waves, they gasped for air. Haven Station's floodlights spotted them instantly. On the platform, Ray helped pull them out one by one. "What happened down there?" he demanded. Lena took off her helmet, breathing hard. "It's not just a tomb," she said. "It's a vault. And it's awake." Mira sat beside her, shivering. "It said we were their descendants. That we built the stars," Ray frowned, trying to understand. "You're saying this thing was made by humans?" Lena looked back at the dark shape of the tomb in the distance. Its surface was glowing again, brighter than before. "Not by humans as we are now," she said softly. "By what we used to be." As the wind picked up, the sea began to tremble again. The lights on the tomb pulsed faster, sending new waves of energy into the deep. From the sky above, satellites caught the same readings. The tomb was no longer silent. It was sending a signal again, stronger than before. And this time it wasn't just Earth listening. Its black walls pulsed with light like a heartbeat, sending waves of energy through the deep ocean. All across the world, sensors picked up the strange rhythm. Satellites trembled under the sudden burst of radiation, and far above, hidden listening stations on the Moon and Mars caught the signal echoing into space. At Haven Station, alarms had been ringing for hours. Commander Ray Holt stood in the control room, staring at the main screen. Blue lines moved across the radar, forming a shape that looked almost like a heartbeat. Every few seconds, the line spiked and another wave of energy went out. "What's the range now?" he asked. "Global," answered a technician. "The signal is covering the entire planet. It's everywhere." Ray turned to Dr. Lena Hayes, who stood beside him with her tablet. Her hair was tied up, her eyes tired but focused. "You said this tomb is a vault," Ray said. "Then what's it doing now?" Lena shook her head. "It's waking up its systems. The Warden said there were others. Maybe this one is trying to contact them." Ray frowned. "Others? You mean more tombs?" Lena nodded slowly. "Yes, hidden around the world. If this is really a part of something bigger, we might not be dealing with one artifact. We could be standing on top of an entire network." "The message, Doctor." Mira Voss ran into the room, holding a tablet filled with strange glowing symbols. "Lena, I think I've cracked part of the signal's code," she said. "It's not just energy. It's language, ancient but structured." Ray looked at her. "You can read it?" "Not all," Mira said. "But I can translate a small part. It says," she paused, looking uncertain. "It says, 'Guardians of Earth, rise. The descendants have returned.'" The words sent a chill through the room. Everyone stared at the display. Lena whispered, "It's calling to someone." "Or something," Ray sighed. "Whatever it's calling, I don't want it answering." Outside, waves crashed against the metal walls of Haven Station. The ocean seemed restless, almost alive. Deep below, the tomb's glow grew stronger and small whirlpools began to form around it. The water wasn't boiling. It was moving with purpose. The descent again. Despite the danger, Lena insisted on going back. "This is our only chance to learn before the signal reaches something else," she said firmly. "If it's activating systems, we need to know what kind." Ray didn't like the idea, but he also knew there was no stopping her. "You've got 30 minutes this time," he said. "If anything feels wrong, you get out." Lena, Mira, and 2 divers, Tom and Ilya, prepared again. This time they carried stronger scanners and drones. The water below was darker than before, filled with faint blue particles drifting up from the tomb. As they descended, Lena noticed the sea life had vanished. No fish, no movement, just silence. Even the sound of their bubbles seemed too loud. When the tomb came into view, its doors were already open. The blue light inside glowed brighter and faint mist poured out like breath. "It's expecting us," Mira said quietly. They swam through the tunnel. This time the walls didn't shift or hum. Instead, symbols began to light up as they passed, forming trails of text. The tomb remembered them. When they reached the main chamber, the sight took their breath away. The armored soldiers, the guardians, were standing now, their glowing eyes focused on the newcomers. The air shimmered with energy. In the center, the warden hovered like a statue of light, motionless, waiting. Lena floated closer. "We're here," she said softly. "You said we were descendants. What does that mean?" The warden's form flickered and its voice filled the room. Long we waited. The blood of creators. Returns. Mira lifted her scanner. "Are you saying we built you?" "Your kind forged the vaults," the warden replied. "When the war came, you hid your seed in the deep. You left us to guard. Until your return," Lena frowned. "War? Against who?" The warden turned its gaze toward the ceiling. For a moment, the blue light dimmed. Then images filled the walls. Holograms of space battles, huge ships, and burning planets. "The Veil," the warden said. "They came from beyond the black clouds. They hunted your kind. You fled to protect life." The humans watched in silence as the holograms showed scenes of destruction, star cities crumbling, moons shattering, oceans burning. Yet in one image they saw a group of humans placing glowing cubes into the ocean, guarded by giant machines. "One of those cubes looked just like the tomb. The Veil sought to erase all traces of you," the warden continued. "But we hid, we waited. Now your pulse stirs again." The warning Lena looked around, trying to understand. "If you waited, why now? Why wake up after thousands of years?" "Because the call was answered," the warden said. "A signal from the stars reached us first. The Veil has heard." The words made everyone freeze. Ray's voice came through the comms. "Lena, what's happening down there?" "Readings are spiking again." Lena's heart raced. "The warden says the signal isn't just going out. Something is responding to it." "Yes," said the warden. "They come to finish what they began." The glowing guardians turned toward the entrance as if ready for battle. The floor beneath them began to shift, revealing massive sealed doors below the chamber. From deep inside, a low rumble echoed upward. "What's happening?" Mira shouted. "The vault prepares for defense," the warden replied. "The world must wake." The rising storm above the surface, dark clouds gathered once again. The sea churned violently and lightning flashed without thunder. The wind picked up around Haven Station, making the metal platforms tremble. Ray ran across the deck shouting commands. "All power to the anchors. Secure the labs!" Scientists rushed to pack equipment as the ocean began to glow again. From the tomb below, columns of blue light shot upward through the waves, piercing the sky. They were not random. They formed a pattern, a symbol that satellites quickly captured from orbit. It looked like a star map. And then one of the technicians shouted, "Commander, there's movement on the ocean floor. More structures are rising." Ray looked at the screen. Across the Atlantic, new shapes appeared under the waves. Smaller tombs awakening one by one. Each sent its own beam of light into the clouds. "Dear heaven," Ray whispered. "There are dozens of them." The core room deep below, the main chamber, shifted again. A passage opened behind the warden, leading into a bright core filled with spinning rings of energy. The air shimmered like heat. The warden motioned for them to follow. "You must see the truth," it said. "You are not only descendants. You are the key." They followed carefully. The deeper they went, the stronger the energy became. In the center of the core was a huge crystal sphere floating between metal arcs. Inside it swirled shapes of galaxies and stars, like a tiny universe trapped in glass. What is that? Lena asked. Memory, the warden said. The soul of your people. A record of all that was lost. Mira stared at the swirling light. It's beautiful. The warden turned to Lena. The vaults across your world each hold a part of this memory. When joined, they will restore what once was. But the veil will sense the awakening. You must be ready. Lena looked up at the glowing sphere. Ready for what? For the return of war, the warden answered. But this time you will not run. Before she could reply, the ground shook violently. Alarms blared inside the tomb. The light from the sphere flickered and cracks of blue lightning crawled along the walls. Ray's voice screamed through the comms. Lena, get out now. The ocean floor is shifting. The warden raised its hands. The signal draws them closer. You must go. Protect the memory. Lena didn't argue. Team, move! They swam back through the tunnels as the tomb trembled around them. The lights flickered and dimmed. Metal panels closed and reopened, trying to hold together. The ocean roared outside like thunder underwater. When they finally reached the exit, a shockwave burst from the tomb, throwing them upward through the water. They surfaced near Haven Station, gasping for breath as debris from the waves crashed around them. The new signal ray helped pull them aboard. The entire horizon glowed blue now. Dozens of light beams rose from the sea, stretching high into the clouds. They were not random. Together they formed a vast symbol visible from orbit. What did you do? Ray demanded. Lena coughed, catching her breath. We didn't do anything. It was already happening. Mira looked toward the glowing tomb. It said the veil heard us. They're coming. The wind howled around them. On the monitors inside Haven Station, one final message appeared, transmitted from the tomb before it went silent again. Humanity's dawn returns. But shadows follow. Lena stared at the words, speechless. Around her, people whispered, unsure if they should feel fear or pride. Ray placed a hand on her shoulder. What now? She looked at the glowing horizon and said softly, We wake the others. If this is the legacy we were meant to find, then it's time we earn it. Far out in the endless dark of space, something stirred, distant shapes shifting among the stars. For the first time in thousands of years, the enemies of the old humans had heard the heartbeat of Earth again. The tomb had done its duty. Humanity's secret was no longer hidden. The question was no longer whether they were ready, but whether they could survive what was coming. The ocean had calmed, but the world above remained restless. Across the globe, satellites, submarines, and deep-sea observatories picked up signals radiating from the tomb. Each new pulse was a reminder. Humanity's past was not dead. It was awake. On Haven Station, Commander Ray Holt watched the readings on multiple screens. He had not slept for 2 days. Beside him, Dr. Lena Hayes and Dr. Mira Voss studied the scans of the tomb, trying to make sense of what they had seen. We barely scratched the surface, Lena said quietly. That warden, it knows everything. It's trying to show us what humans were once capable of. Ray rubbed his face. And now it's showing it to us again. But we can't ignore what it warned. The veil heard the signal. Whatever that is, it's out there. Mira pointed at a hologram on her tablet. Look at this. The tomb isn't just a building. It's a storage system. Every holographic record we saw, every energy pulse. It's part of a larger network. There are dozens, maybe hundreds of tombs across the planet. Ray's eyebrows rose. And if they all activate? Then humanity could regain what it lost, Mira said softly. Or, as the warden warned, it could draw dangers back to us. The return to the tomb. Despite the risks, Lena and her team returned to the tomb with a larger expedition. This time they carried stronger diving pods, communication devices, and scanners capable of withstanding extreme energy surges. The descent into the deep ocean was quieter than before. Sea creatures avoided the area as if they understood the tomb's power. As their pods neared the structure, its glow welcomed them, pulsing with the rhythm of a heartbeat. Lena adjusted her suit lights. It's alive, she whispered. I can feel it moving. Inside, the tomb had changed. The corridors seemed wider, more organized. Holographic symbols floated in the water, forming maps of stars, planets, and strange galaxies. The air, or rather the water, seemed to carry a message, vibrating through every fiber of their suits. Mira studied a series of glowing images. These are not just decorative, she said. They are diagrams, instructions, histories, even warnings. The holographic archive. They reached the main chamber. The Guardians had moved slightly since their last visit, now forming a circle around the central core. The Warden hovered above the energy sphere, its form brighter than before. "Welcome again, children of Earth," it said. "The knowledge of your kind is ready to be shared." The central sphere expanded, casting a vast light over the chamber. Inside, holographic records projected images of a human civilization lost to time. Lena and Mira watched in awe. Humans once traveled between stars, building great cities on planets that now lay in ruins. Their ships could traverse light years. Machines powered by energy sources beyond comprehension reshaped planets and created artificial ecosystems. These humans, our ancestors? Lena asked, disbelief in her voice. "Not all your kind survived," the Warden said. "The Veil hunted them relentlessly. You are what remains of the descendants." Mira floated closer to a projection showing humans defending a star city. Energy shields flared, weapons fired beams of light, and ships clashed in the void. "They were warriors," she said softly. "And engineers. And explorers." "Yes," the Warden confirmed. "They were creators, not destroyers. But they learned too late that power draws attention." Images shifted. The hologram now displayed humans underwater, carefully placing glowing devices, cubes, spheres, and tombs into the oceans of Earth. One of the cubes looked almost identical to the tomb they had entered. "They hid their greatest achievements," Lena said. "They thought the oceans would protect them." "And they were right," the Warden said. "Until now." The warning from the Warden. Lena's heart pounded. "The Veil. Are they coming here?" "The signal you carried," the Warden said, "is a beacon. It is a challenge and a warning. The Veil will know you have awakened. They remember the power of your kind." Ray's voice broke through the comms. "Lena, the surface readings are spiking again. You need to get out now." Lena hesitated. "One more thing, Ray. We need to understand the purpose of these tombs before it's too late." The Warden moved closer. Its light flickered across the Guardians. "The tombs contain fragments of knowledge and energy. If united, they can restore the legacy of humanity. If misused, they can summon the destruction of Earth itself." Mira's voice shook. "Fragments, meaning each tomb has part of the memory, and if someone awakens them incorrectly." "The balance will break," the Warden confirmed. "The Veil will respond. They will not ignore the call." The choice. The expedition moved deeper into the tomb, following the light of the central sphere. Lena's scanner picked up hidden chambers below the main floor, areas untouched, sealed for thousands of years. Inside one chamber, they found more holographic records, star maps, calculations, blueprints of machines, and texts describing advanced technology far beyond current human understanding. It was a library of lost knowledge. Mira studied a map of the galaxy. "Look here," she said. "These are colonies, planets humans visited long ago. They built civilizations, technology, and then they vanished. We were never meant to forget. But we did." Lena traced her finger over the glowing projections, and the tombs were their safekeeping. They were designed to awaken the descendants when the time was right. Ray frowned. "The time is now. But if the Veil is still out there, what do we do? Activate everything or hide it all again?" The Warden floated closer. Its light washed over the team. "You must choose. Sleep again and risk losing the memory, or rise and face the consequences. The descendants decide." Lena felt a weight on her chest. This was no longer just a discovery. It was a decision that could shape the fate of humanity. The ocean responds outside. The ocean above the tomb began to react. The surface glowed faintly, waves forming circles around the structure. Energy readings spiked. Submarines sent by other nations reported strange currents pushing and pulling. Even satellites detected pulses moving outward like a network awakening. Ray spoke firmly. "We can't ignore this. Whatever decision we make, we need to prepare. If the tombs link up, the world will change forever." Lena nodded. "We need to learn first, the Veil. If they come, we must know what we're defending," Mira added. "And maybe we can prove that humanity is more than what we are today, that we can rise again." The Warden's light pulsed. "The choice is yours. But beware. Knowledge carries responsibility. Those who ignore it invite doom. Those who embrace it invite challenge." Lena floated near the core. "We are ready," she whispered. "Ready to face whatever comes? If this is our past, it is also our future." The signal intensifies. The tomb's energy pulsed stronger than ever. Beams of light shot from its core, reaching deep into the oceans, activating other hidden vaults. The Guardians moved in unison, their eyes glowing like stars. The holographic archives flashed, sending waves of information to the team's scanners. Ray watched from the surface. "This is bigger than any military operation. Bigger than any plan. It's humanity's choice, not ours." Lena floated through the energy, her suit shielding her from the growing power. "We are not alone," she said softly. "Not in the universe, not in history. This knowledge, it's a responsibility we inherit." Mira looked at her, eyes wide. "And the veil?" "They will respond. That much is certain," Lena nodded. "Then we must be ready. Knowledge is power, and now we hold it. We either rise, or we risk being forgotten again." The warden's voice echoed through the chamber. "The tombs awaken. The descendants must learn. The veil will come. But the choice is yours." The blue light swirled faster, filling the chamber, the corridors, the tunnels, and even the water outside. A pulse of energy shot upward, breaking the surface. The ocean glowed like a field of stars. Lena, Mira, and the rest of the team stared in awe. Humanity's lost power was returning, slowly, silently, and inexorably. For the first time in thousands of years, Earth was not asleep. Its secret legacy was alive again, and somewhere far in the universe a shadow moved in response. The ocean glowed beneath the night sky like a field of stars. Blue energy beams rose from the tomb, reaching toward satellites, neighboring seas, and distant hidden vaults. Humanity had awakened its secret. On Haven Station, Dr. Lena Hayes stared at the screens, her face pale from exhaustion and awe. Beside her, Commander Ray Holt and Dr. Mira Voss watched the readings spike higher than any instruments could measure. This is bigger than anything we imagined," Ray said quietly. "We have no idea what we're truly facing." Lena's eyes stayed on the glowing shape of the tomb below. "We were warned," she said softly. "The warden told us the veil would respond. They've heard the pulse. They know humanity has returned." Mira shivered. "Do we have a choice? Can we stop it?" Lena shook her head. "Not anymore. The tombs are linked. Their energy. It's already spreading across the oceans. It's too late to hide. Now we must rise." The assembly of the tombs across the Atlantic. Dozens of other tombs had begun to emerge. Some were fully submerged, while others broke the ocean surface like dark mountains. Blue light streamed from each, forming a network of energy that connected the ancient vaults. Military satellites captured the beams, forming a vast grid. Scientists on every continent stared in disbelief. The world was witnessing something beyond comprehension. Humanity's long-lost power returning. In the depths of the ocean near Haven Station, Lena's team prepared for the journey to the central tomb, the largest and most mysterious of them all. The warden had promised answers, and Lena knew this was their only chance to understand the legacy of the ancients. The dive pods cut through the glowing water. Currents tugged at them as if the ocean itself guided their path. Outside, small glowing shapes moved along the seabed, guardians or perhaps remnants of technology left to protect the vaults. "This is incredible," Mira whispered. "They're not machines. They're alive in some way," Lena nodded. "They're waiting for us. For humanity." The central vault, the largest tomb, was colossal, larger than anything they had seen before. Its surface shimmered with blue light and engraved symbols that shifted constantly, forming patterns that seemed alive. At its center, a massive circular door glowed brighter than the rest. The dive pods moved closer. Lena felt a shiver run through her. The warden had said the vaults contained fragments of knowledge. The central tomb, she realized, might contain the complete memory of humanity. Everything the ancients had built, everything they had lost. The pods entered a narrow tunnel leading to the core of the tomb. Inside, the water was alive with energy. Holographic maps floated in the currents, showing galaxies, star systems, and ancient human colonies. It was a library of forgotten history. Then they saw them. The Guardians, hundreds of armored figures, standing in perfect formation. Their eyes glowed like stars, and their presence radiated authority. The warden appeared above the central sphere, its light filling the chamber. "Descendants," it said, "the knowledge is yours to claim. The choice is yours. You may awaken the past, but you must accept the consequences. Lena's heart pounded. "We are ready," she said. "We cannot hide any longer. Humanity must rise, the memory restored." The warden gestured toward the central sphere. Its surface rippled like liquid silver. As Lena approached, she felt a rush of energy flow through her suit. Visions of the past, memories of the ancients flooding her mind. She saw humans traveling between stars, building planets, creating machines capable of reshaping life itself. She saw wars against the Veil, civilizations destroyed, and the hidden efforts to preserve knowledge beneath the oceans of Earth. "You are the inheritors of all this," the warden said. "But power alone is not enough. You must understand responsibility." Mira floated beside Lena, eyes wide. "It's more than we can comprehend." "Knowledge must be shared," the warden continued. "The time of fear has ended. The time of choice has begun." The glowing guardians activated, sending pulses of energy into the central sphere. Light spread through the tombs, linking them all. Every pulse strengthened the vaults, completing the network the ancients had built. Lena understood. The legacy of humanity was not lost. It was hidden, waiting for the descendants to claim it. The veil approaches. Suddenly, the water around the tomb vibrated violently. Energy readings spiked even higher. Ray's voice came through the comm. "Lena, something's coming. Multiple objects approaching at extreme speed." Outside, the ocean's surface was disturbed by shadows moving under the waves. Giant shapes approached, ships unlike any modern design, sleek and black, cutting through the water with terrifying speed. These were the Veil, the ancient enemies of humanity. "They've come," Lena said, just as the warden warned. The warden's light brightened. "Do not fear. You are the descendants. You carry the legacy of the ancients. The Veil cannot overcome knowledge awakened." Lena felt the energy from the tomb flow through her. She raised her hand and a pulse of blue light shot toward the approaching shapes. The water around them shimmered, forming a protective barrier. The guardians activated, moving in formation, sending waves of energy into the ocean. Ray's voice trembled. "They're firing, but our shields are holding. Humanity rises, the Veil attacked in force, but the tombs were ready." Pulses of energy surged from every vault, linking in a protective network. Ships that had once hunted humanity were now trapped in fields of blue light, unable to advance. Lena realized the truth. The ancients had not only hidden knowledge, but also defense systems. The tombs themselves were guardians, waiting for the descendants to reclaim them. Mira looked at Lena in awe. We're fighting without weapons, just with their knowledge." "Yes," the warden said. "This is your legacy. You are more than what you were. You are humanity risen." The blue light from the tomb spread across the oceans, creating barriers, shields, and energy pulses that repelled the Veil. Even from a distance, ships were disabled, their systems overloaded by the energy network. For the first time, Lena felt hope. Humanity was not powerless. They had inherited strength, knowledge, and protection, the true gift of the ancients. The final choice. After the battle, the ocean calmed. The Veil withdrew, recognizing that the descendants had reclaimed their power. Ships disappeared beneath the waves, leaving only silence and the glow of the tombs. Ray looked at Lena. "Is it over?" The warden hovered above the central sphere. "For now, but this is only the beginning. You have awakened humanity's memory. How you use it will decide the future." Lena nodded. "We'll protect it. We'll share it carefully. We'll rise, not to conquer, but to preserve." Mira added, "And we'll remember humanity's past and its responsibility." The guardians deactivated, their lights dimming. The tombs, though still glowing faintly, rested once more in the ocean. But this time they were ready, waiting to support the descendants whenever needed. Lena floated in the core chamber, feeling the pulse of energy flowing through the water. The legacy of the ancients was alive, and humanity had claimed it. "You have chosen wisely," the warden said. "The past is restored. The future awaits." A new dawn back on Haven Station, the sunrise broke over the ocean. Blue beams from the tombs reflected on the waves, creating a field of light visible for miles. Lena, Mira, Ray, and the rest of the team stood on the deck, watching the glow fade into the morning. Humanity had risen, not as conquerors, but as guardians of their own history, ready to face the challenges ahead. For the first time in thousands of years, Earth was not alone. The descendants of the ancients had awakened, armed with knowledge, wisdom, and courage. Somewhere in the vastness of space, the shadows of the veil lingered. But they had learned something crucial. Humanity was no longer the same. The tombs beneath the ocean remained, silent yet alive, waiting for the next generation of descendants. And the heartbeat of Earth, the pulse of knowledge, power, and courage, continued to shine. Humanity had returned. Stronger, wiser, and ready to rise.